What if the first murder in human history was not a tale of jealousy, but a cosmic rebellion? What if Cain, the outcast, was not the villain we've been taught to fear, but a misunderstood figure who carried a secret spark, one that threatened the very order of heaven and earth? Imagine the world as a stage for a spiritual drama far deeper than the surface story. The ancient texts whisper a different truth, one that has been buried for centuries beneath layers of doctrine and fear. In the beginning there were two brothers, Cain and Abel. Their story is familiar, echoing through Sunday schools and pulpits. Abel, the favored shepherd, offers a pleasing sacrifice. Cain, the tiller of the ground, brings his own fruits only to have them rejected. In a fit of anger, Cain kills his brother, and God curses him to wander the earth marked and alone. But what if this is only the outer shell of the story? What if, beneath this tragedy, lies a coded message, a secret history that challenges everything we think we know about good and evil? Gnostic tradition invites us to look again, to peel back the layers of the Genesis account. In these ancient, often suppressed writings, the world is not the harmonious creation of a loving God, but the flawed work of the demiurge, a lesser, jealous being who claims to be the sole creator. The true, hidden God is distant, pure spirit, and the material world is a prison. Within this prison, sparks of divine light are trapped, yearning for liberation. Cain, in this telling, is not merely a murderer. He is a rebel, a seeker, a soul who glimpses the bars of his cage. The Gnostic Gospel of Judas hints at this deeper conflict. It portrays the so-called villains of Scripture, Cain, Judas, even the inhabitants of Sodom, not as agents of chaos, but as those who dare to challenge the demiurge's suffocating order. Cain's offering is rejected not because it is inferior, but because it comes from a place of independence, a refusal to bow to a false god. His act of violence, while tragic, is a rupture, a crack in the demiurge's facade through which the light of true knowledge can begin to shine. But there is more. Some Gnostic texts, like the Apocryphon of John, suggest that the serpent in Eden was not a deceiver, but a messenger of Sophia, the divine wisdom. It was Sophia who pitied humanity, trapped in ignorance, and sent the serpent to open their eyes. In this light, Cain's lineage is not cursed so much as marked, set apart as carriers of a dangerous, liberating knowledge. The mark of Cain becomes a symbol of protection, a sign that he bears within him the spark of Sophia's wisdom, and that the powers of the world cannot destroy him. This is the first great twist in the story. The curse is not what it seems. The mark that sets Cain apart is not only a punishment but a shield. The ancient rabbis wondered at this. Why would God protect a murderer? The Gnostics answer, because Cain is more than a criminal. He is a vessel of the divine spark, and his survival is necessary for the unfolding of a greater mystery. The lineage of Cain, then, becomes a thread of hidden knowledge woven through the fabric of history. His descendants, Tubal-Cain, the first smith, Naamah, the musician, are remembered as inventors, creators, those who bring new arts into the world. Their gifts are double-edged. Metalwork can forge tools or weapons. Music can soothe or incite. In the Gnostic imagination, these gifts are not simply human achievements, but echoes of the divine spark struggling to express itself within the confines of matter. Yet, the world is not kind to those who bear the mark. The descendants of Cain are hunted, feared, and reviled. Their story is rewritten by the victors, their wisdom recast as heresy. The early church fathers, like Irenaeus, denounced the Cainites, a real Gnostic sect who revered Cain and other biblical outcasts as enemies of God. But the Cainites themselves saw their lineage as a badge of honor, a sign that they stood apart from the blind obedience demanded by the demiurge. The serpent's wisdom, the mark of Cain, the forbidden arts of his descendants, all are threads in a tapestry of hidden knowledge. This knowledge is dangerous, for it threatens the order imposed by the false creator. It whispers that the world is not as it seems, that there is a higher truth waiting to be discovered by those brave enough to seek it. As the story unfolds, the mystery deepens. What became of Cain's descendants? Did their bloodline truly vanish, or did it survive, hidden in plain sight, carrying the spark of rebellion into new ages and new forms? The ancient texts hint at secrets yet to be uncovered, at a legacy that refuses to die. The journey has only begun. In the next chapter, we will follow the trail of the Cainites, the keepers of forbidden wisdom, and discover how their legacy shaped the hidden currents of history. The mark of Cain still glows in the darkness, a beacon for those who dare to question, to seek, to know, and the greatest secrets are yet to be revealed. The mark glows faintly in the shadows of history, a secret sign passed from generation to generation. But who were the true heirs of Cain? In the world's forgotten corners, among the scrolls and whispers of ancient sects, we find the enigmatic Cainites, a people who dared to embrace the forbidden, who saw in Cain not a monster, but a misunderstood prophet. Their story is not one of damnation, but of defiance and hidden wisdom. Imagine a time when the early Christian world was splintered, teeming with competing visions of truth. The Orthodox Church, eager to establish order, cast out those who questioned its doctrines. Yet among the so-called heretics, the Cainites stood apart. They were not content to follow blindly. They sought the deeper meanings behind the stories, the secret keys that unlocked the prison of the material world. To the Cainites, the world was a battlefield between the Demiurge, a false god who ruled with iron laws, and Sophia, the divine wisdom who mourned for her lost children. They saw the Genesis story not as a warning against rebellion, but as a coded message. True enlightenment comes only to those who dare to defy the tyrant's rules. Cain, in their eyes, became the first to awaken, the first to challenge the order that kept humanity in chains. Their scriptures, now lost to flames and time, once sang the praises of those cast aside by the mainstream. In the Gospel of Judas, a text buried for centuries and unearthed only in our own age, we glimpse this radical vision. Judas, like Cain, is not the traitor of tradition, but the chosen one, selected to expose the illusion of the material world and set the soul free. The Cainites extended this reverence to all the outcasts of Scripture: Esau, Korah, the Sodomites. Each, they believed, carried a fragment of the divine spark. Each bore witness to a higher truth. But the world was not ready for such revelations. The Church Fathers, men like Irenaeus and Hippolytus, wrote scathing attacks against the Cainites. They called them blasphemers, accused them of celebrating sin, of turning the world upside down. Yet beneath these accusations, a deeper anxiety lurked. What if the Cainites were right? What if the outcasts and rebels were the true bearers of wisdom, and the keepers of order were the real deceivers? The Cainites answered their accusers with a paradox. To truly know God, one must first see through the false god's illusions. They practiced rituals that inverted the expected, breaking taboos to shatter the demiurge's hold. Their gatherings were shrouded in secrecy, their teachings veiled in allegory. To outsiders, their ways seemed shocking, even scandalous. But to the initiated, every act was a step toward gnosis, a deeper, liberating knowledge. Their influence rippled through the ancient world, touching the fringes of other Gnostic sects. The Scythians, the Ophites, the Carpocratians, all shared a reverence for hidden wisdom. All saw in the rejected stories of Scripture a map to spiritual freedom. The Cainites, however, were unique in their embrace of the villains. They saw in Cain's bloodline a lineage of seekers, artists, and innovators, those who refused to accept the world as it was given. Consider Tubal-Cain, the smith, who forged the first tools and weapons. In the hands of the Cainites, his story became a symbol. Creation and destruction are two sides of the same coin. To shape the world, one must first break its chains. Nama, the musician, brought new sounds into being, echoing the voice of Sophia herself. These descendants of Cain were not merely historical figures, they were archetypes, living symbols of humanity's restless quest for meaning. Yet, the price of such wisdom was exile. The Cainites wandered the margins, hunted by the powerful, misunderstood by the masses. Their scriptures were burned, their names reviled. But their ideas could not be so easily destroyed. Like seeds scattered on the wind, their teachings found new soil in the hearts of other seekers. Mystics, heretics, and visionaries who would carry the torch of hidden knowledge into future generations. The legacy of the Cainites is a story of survival against all odds. It is the story of those who refuse to be silenced, who find light in the darkness and meaning in the margins. Their journey is not merely historical, it is spiritual, a call to every soul that feels the weight of the world's illusions and yearns for something more. As we follow this thread deeper into the labyrinth of history, a new question emerges. Did the bloodline of Cain truly vanish, or did it survive, hidden in plain sight, shaping the world in ways both subtle and profound? In the next chapter, we will trace the echoes of Cain's lineage through forbidden arts, secret societies, and mystical traditions. The mark endures, and its story is far from over. The hidden bloodline awaits discovery, and with it, the next revelation. The story of Cain's descendants is not merely a tale of ancient names lost in the dust of time. It is a living current, an underground river that has shaped the world in ways most have never imagined. The mark of Cain, once seen as a curse, becomes, in the Gnostic imagination, a sign of a secret inheritance. This inheritance is not of land or wealth, but of knowledge, creativity, and the unyielding spirit to challenge the boundaries imposed by the demiurge. Let us follow the thread of this hidden bloodline, beginning with the enigmatic figures who appear in the earliest scriptures. Tubal-Cain, the master smith, is more than a craftsman. He is the first to bend the elements of the earth to human will. In the book of Genesis, he is credited as the forger of all instruments of bronze and iron. But to the Gnostics, Tubal-Cain's skill is not merely technical, it is mystical. The act of forging metal is a metaphor for spiritual transformation, the alchemy of turning base matter into something luminous and new. Every hammer strike echoes the ancient longing to reshape the world, to break free from the prison of ignorance. Nama, Tubal-Cain's sister, is remembered as the mother of music. In her melodies, the Gnostics heard the voice of Sophia, the divine wisdom, singing through the chaos of creation. Music, like metallurgy, is a double-edged gift. It can soothe or incite, liberate or enslave. The descendants of Cain are always close to the edge, their gifts both blessing and burden. They bring beauty into the world, but their creations are often misunderstood, feared, or twisted by those who serve the demiurge. The ancient stories do not end with the flood. While the Genesis account suggests that Cain's line was wiped out, Gnostic and apocryphal texts hint at a different fate. In the Apocalypse of Adam, Adam himself confides to his son Seth that a secret lineage will survive, protected by Sophia from the wrath of the false god. This lineage carries the spark of rebellion, the memory of a time before the world was bound by the demiurge's laws. As centuries pass, the bloodline of Cain becomes a symbol, a cipher for all those who stand apart from the crowd. In the shadowy corners of history, we find echoes of this lineage in the stories of outcasts, innovators, and heretics. The medieval alchemists, with their cryptic symbols and secret societies, trace their wisdom back to Tubal-Cain. Their motto, "Visit the interior of the earth," And by rectifying, you will find the hidden stone is a call to the same inner transformation that Cain's descendants embodied. Even in the legends of Freemasonry, Tubal Cain appears as a patron saint of builders and craftsmen. His name is whispered in rituals. His tools become emblems of the creative power that shapes both stone and soul. The Freemasons, like the Cainites before them, see themselves as keepers of a hidden tradition, guardians of a knowledge that transcends the surface of things. But the bloodline is not only a matter of secret societies and mystical arts. It is also a story of suffering, of those who are marked as different and driven to the margins. Lamech, a descendant of Cain, is remembered for his violence and his lament. His story is a warning. The gifts of the bloodline can be corrupted, turned to destruction if not guided by wisdom. The world's suspicion of Cain's heirs is not without cause. Power, untempered by gnosis, becomes tyranny, yet for every tale of downfall there is a story of redemption. The Gnostic vision insists that the spark cannot be extinguished. It survives in the most unlikely places, in the songs of troubadours, the inventions of scientists, the visions of poets and prophets. The mark of Cain is not always visible, but it is always there, a hidden sign for those with eyes to see. The question lingers. Did the bloodline of Cain truly vanish, or did it simply go underground, waiting for the right moment to emerge? In every age, there are those who bear the mark, not in their flesh, but in their restless spirit, their refusal to accept the world as it is. They are the rebels, the dreamers, the seekers of forbidden knowledge. As we move forward, the story grows even stranger. The powers that be have always sought to erase the memory of Cain's lineage, to stamp out the spark before it can ignite a fire. But history is full of surprises, and the truth has a way of resurfacing when least expected. In the next chapter, we will witness the cosmic reckoning, the moment when the hidden bloodline faces its greatest trial, and the world is forced to confront the legacy it tried to forget. The mark endures, and its meaning is about to be revealed in ways that will challenge everything we thought we knew. The journey is far from over. The reckoning awaits. The world has always feared what it cannot control. The bloodline of Cain, marked, misunderstood, and maligned, became the shadow that haunted the dreams of kings and priests. But what happens when the shadow refuses to fade, when the spark of forbidden knowledge flares up in defiance of every attempt to snuff it out? This is the moment of cosmic reckoning, when the hidden lineage of Cain collides with the forces determined to erase it forever. The ancient texts speak of a flood, a deluge sent by the demiurge to cleanse the earth of corruption. On the surface, it is a story of punishment, a divine reset. But the Gnostic imagination sees deeper currents swirling beneath the waves. The flood is not just water, it is a tide of forgetfulness, an attempt to drown the memory of rebellion and silence the song of Sophia. The demiurge, threatened by the persistence of the divine spark, unleashes chaos to wipe the slate clean. Yet the spark endures. The Apocalypse of Adam, a text hidden for centuries, reveals a secret. Sophia intervenes, guiding the remnant of Cain's lineage through the waters, preserving the seed of Gnosis for a future age. The bloodline survives, not in the open, but in the margins, the cracks, the hidden places of the world. Like a lamp flickering in the darkness, it refuses to go out. History repeats this pattern again and again. Every time the mark of Cain emerges, whether in the innovations of Tubal Cain, the music of Nama, or the visions of later heretics, it is met with suspicion, persecution, and violence. The Cathars of medieval France, the Albigensians, the Bogomils, each carried echoes of Gnostic wisdom, each faced the wrath of the powerful. The Inquisition's flames sought to consume the spark, but it always found new vessels, new voices. In the shadows of the Renaissance, secret societies flourished. The Freemasons, the Rosicrucians, the alchemists, all claimed descent from ancient wisdom, all guarded mysteries that traced back to the first smith and the first song. Their rituals, veiled in allegory, kept alive the memory of a time when knowledge was dangerous, when to seek the truth was to risk everything. The tools of Tubal-Cain became symbols of transformation, the music of Nama, a hymn to the lost Sophia. But the reckoning is not only historical, it is cosmic, spiritual, personal. The mark of Cain is not just a sign on the skin, it is a challenge in the soul. Will you accept the world as it is, or will you dare to question, to seek, to rebel? The Demiurge's order is seductive, promising safety and certainty. But the Gnostic knows that true freedom lies beyond the walls of the prison, in the wild country of the spirit. The story of Cain's bloodline is the story of every seeker who has ever felt the call to something greater, every artist who has shaped chaos into beauty, every visionary who has glimpsed a world beyond the veil. It is the story of resistance, of survival, of hope. Even as the floodwaters rise, even as the fires burn, the spark endures. And so the question returns. What if the real curse is not the mark itself, but the fear of what it represents? What if the world's greatest danger is not rebellion, but blind obedience? The reckoning is not a single event, but an ongoing struggle, a cosmic drama played out in every age, in every heart. The bloodline of Cain is not just a lineage, it is a legacy. It is the inheritance of all who refuse to be silenced, all who carry the spark of Sophia's wisdom, all who dare to dream of a world remade. The reckoning is here, and the choice remains, to follow the path of comfort and conformity, or to walk the lonely road of the marked, the misunderstood, the free. As the story nears its climax, the mark glows brighter than ever. The hidden bloodline stands at the threshold of revelation, poised to unveil secrets that could change everything. The world holds its breath, and the next chapter beckons, a final unveiling, a moment of truth that will echo through the ages. The world is quieter now, as if holding its breath in the aftermath of revelation. The story of Cain's lineage, once dismissed as a footnote or a cautionary tale, now pulses with new meaning. The mark, once a symbol of shame, has become a beacon for those who dare to question, to seek, to dream beyond the boundaries of what is permitted. Yet as the dust settles, a deeper mystery lingers, one that refuses to be contained by any single narrative, doctrine, or age. In the ruins of forgotten temples and the margins of forbidden texts, the legacy of Cain's descendants endures. The spark Sophia planted, the divine unrest that would not be silenced, has survived every flood, every inquisition, every attempt to erase it from memory. It flickers in the eyes of the outcast and the visionary, in the hands of the artist and the rebel, in the hearts of those who sense, however faintly, that the world is not what it seems. The discovery of the Nag Hammadi library in the Egyptian desert was more than an archaeological marvel. It was a cosmic event, a resurrection of voices long thought lost. Gospels, apocalypses, and secret teachings emerged from the sands, challenging the official story and inviting us to see the world through new eyes. The Gospel of Judas, the Apocryphon of John, the Apocalypse of Adam, each text is a window into a reality where the villains are heroes. The cursed are blessed, and the mark is a sign of hidden royalty. But even now, the question remains, what does it mean to bear the mark of Cain? Is it a burden, a call, or a gift? The Gnostic tradition refuses easy answers. It invites us to wrestle with paradox, to embrace the ambiguity at the heart of all true wisdom. The mark is both exile and protection, both wound and wonder. It is the price of knowledge, the risk of freedom, the cost of stepping beyond the safety of certainty. The world has always needed its Cains, those who refuse to accept the world as it is, who challenge the false gods and break the chains of convention. Their path is never easy. The marked are misunderstood, feared, sometimes destroyed. Yet it is through their struggle that the world is remade, that new possibilities are born. The spark of Sophia's wisdom, carried through the ages by the bloodline of Cain, is the light that refuses to die. Perhaps the real curse is not the mark itself, but the blindness of those who cannot see its meaning. Perhaps the greatest danger is not rebellion, but the silence of those who have forgotten how to question. The story of Cain's lineage is not over. It is written anew in every generation, in every soul who dares to ask, "What if there is more?" The mark glows still, invisible yet undeniable, a secret sign for those with eyes to see. Its meaning is not fixed, but unfolding, a mystery that deepens with every telling. The legacy of Cain's descendants is not just a story of the past, but a challenge for the present and a hope for the future. As the last echoes of the forbidden song fade, a final question remains. One that cannot be answered, only lived. What will you do with the spark you carry? Will you hide it, fear it, deny it? Or will you let it burn, even if it sets the world ablaze? The journey does not end here. The mark endures, and its story continues, waiting for those brave enough to seek, to question, and to awaken. The greatest secrets are never truly lost. They are only waiting to be found.